Hello, Thaddeus. I would have had this video out sooner, but I've been working on this.
My eyes have seen the glory of the gods from the future. They are trampling out the ignorance wherever it is found. They have loosed the knowledge of 100,000 books. Their truth is marching on. They will see you in the future. They will see you in the future. They will see you in the future. They are traveling on.
I think the idea of picking a day of the week in which to upload our videos on and having kind of a standard schedule is probably a good idea. So if you want to go ahead and pick a day of the week, I will go and pick a day after that works out for both of us. Because I was delayed, today is Sunday, the Super Advertising Sportsball End of Sport Bowl, where one sport ball team will be playing another sport ball team and will win by some amount of sport points. And I was actually doing really well because up until Friday when my students informed me that End of Sport Bowl was going on, I had no idea who was in it, or that people were playing it, or that it was even going to happen. And the one thing I did find interesting was Hank Green's video where he talked about a study in which people looked at sport ball games and how much sport ball was actually played during a sport ball match, which is surprisingly very little. Link up here. Now, if you're from the Springfield area, you might know about Book Castle, the wonderful used bookstore with a really good selection of books. They're going out of business. It's tragic, it's sad. I think their owners are moving out of town, and rather than selling the store to somebody, they're just closing shop. But what that means is sales, 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 sales. So what happens when books are discounted down to about $1 a book or less? I go berserk and buy a ton of books. Now, people might get on my case about how many books I buy, because when you're buying nearly 100 books, it's not like you're going to read all of those books in any conceivably efficient amount of time. I still have books from years ago that I haven't got to, but I don't really like to think about it as sort of purchasing a bunch of books. I'd rather think of it as acquiring potential knowledge. Now, this book here, The Economic and Social Transformation of Rural Rhode Island, from 1780 to 1850. What conceivable reason do I really have for having this book, or why would I even be interested in reading it? Well, I'm not exactly the most interested in, other than like the development of America and the American identity is something that I find interesting and was kind of a research area of mine. Now, while this is generally just rural Rhode Island in that time period, imagine if I had questions about what was going on in American life in that time period. Rhode Island is part of America during that time, so if I'm reading through this book and I find details that disprove some sort of assumption about the time period or something like that, it's been a piece of useful information for me to have. And I tend to collect a lot of books like this, because you're not going to find this kind of information on Wikipedia, or you're not going to find a detailed account of Russian rebels before the Bolshevik Revolution. I mean, these aren't things that you just easily find on the internet, but you can find in books that you can get rather cheaply during like library book sales and bookstore closings, and I'd rather like to have that potential knowledge at my disposal in case I need it. It's what I advise my students to have, to get a wide variety of content knowledge. It's one of the reasons that when I'm writing an essay or looking into something, I have kind of an idea of what it is I need to look at, potential question areas and potential things that need to be looked into. It's having that kind of broad, general content knowledge. And when it comes down to phone a friend about questions about rural Rhode Island in the late 18th century, I'm your guy. Thaddeus, I will see you in the future.